Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Would anybody like to share anything before we start?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Any comments? Anybody like to share? Songs? Okay. So, we'll wait. So we are on 3:19:34. Anyesham punya shlokanam udama yashasham satam upashutya bhaven modaha Srivatsankasya kim punaha. What to speak of hearing the pastimes of the Lord, whose chest is marked with Srivatsa? People may take transcendental pleasure in hearing, even in hearing the works and deeds of the devotees, whose fame is immortal. So, what is it saying here? That hearing about the Lord or hearing about the devotees is the same. Whether you hear about the life of the pure devotees or you hear about the pastimes of the Lord, it's same, because whatever the pure devotee does is in service to the Lord. So we have charitra of all the different acharyas like Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasa Acharya, Gadadhar Pandit, and we can hear them. We will also read Vaishnava saints. I think we were reading, so we'll continue that. Bhagavatam literally means the pastimes of the Lord and the Lord's devotees. For example, there are pastimes of Lord Krishna and narrations of devotees like Prahlad, Dhruva, and Maharaj Ambarish. Both pastimes pertain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because the devotees' pastimes are in relation with Him. The Mahabharata, for example, the history of the Pandavas and their activities is sacred. Because the Pandavas had a direct relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so Bhagavatam is nothing but the lives of great devotees and their devotion to the Lord. Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, Ambarish Maharaj, and who else? So many others. Okay. Next verse. The personality of Godhead delivered the king of elephants, who was attacked by an alligator, and who meditated upon the lotus feet of the Lord. At that time, the female elephants who accompanied him were crying, and the Lord saved them from the impending danger. The example of the elephant in danger who was saved by the Supreme Lord is especially cited here because even if one is an animal, he can approach the personality of Godhead in devotional service, whereas even a demigod cannot approach the Supreme Person unless he is a devotee. So Gajendra actually was all alone, I mean, initially they were trying to, help him, but then Then later on, everybody left, and he was all alone. So then he approached the Supreme Lord in devotion. We know that all this Prahlad Maharaj, Kubja, and Vidura, and Kajendra. There is a words like they all they didn't have maybe many material qualifications or good birth or like that high intelligence, but because they approached the Lord in devotion, the Lord reciprocated with them. So the qualification to get the Lord's mercy is to engage in devotional service. Okay. Not any material qualification. Manye dhana abhijana rupa tapa shuddha vajas. What is that verse? Manye dhana abhijana rupa
Rupa Tapa Shruta Ojas
teja.
Tejas Prabhav Bala Paurusham Buddhi Yoga Naradhanai Bhavanti Prashyapamsho Bhaktya Tutosha Bhagwan Gaja Yuddhapaya.
Okay, so that's the verse from Prahlad. Okay, next verse. What grateful soul is there who would not render his loving service to such a great master as the personality of Godhead? So, if we are grateful, the result of gratitude is service. If you have done something for me and I want to reciprocate with you, what will I do? I will do some service to you. So, gratitude results in rendering loving service. So, Krishna has given us so much, human form of life, everything Krishna has given us. We may say it's according to our karma, but karma is also given by Krishna or not given by Krishna. That is also Krishna's only, it's all happening under Krishna's direction. So Krishna has given us so much. So the devotee cries in gratitude to Krishna, oh Krishna, you've done so much for me. Now how can I pay back? What can I do in return? So like this, eating, before eating we offer it to Krishna as a matter of gratitude. Krishna, you only provided this food, so you first accept it, because I didn't manufacture the food. It is by your arrangement the food came about. So I'm offering it to you first. Many devotees, they offer their paycheck to Krishna, because Krishna, you only gave me the intelligence to work, or you made the arrangement. So I'm offering my money to you because it's because of you giving me intelligence. It's even material intelligence. Krishna only gives. So that's why I'm able to work and I'm able to. So now I'm offering what I'm getting, offering back to you. So I'll use it in your service. So like that also we can think. Shabdakhe Paurusham Rishu. Krishna says, I'm the sound in ether and I'm the ability in man. So Buddhi Buddhimatam Tejas Tejasvinamaham Balam Balvatam Chaham. Strength of the strong, I'm the intelligence. So that if we recognize, then we'll be very grateful and then we'll offer it to Krishna, back to Krishna. And Krishna will not take anything. He just wants that, like Prabhupada says, he will leave the food behind. But just that act of offering it to him, he feels very pleased. Oh, he's giving it to me. My child is giving it back to me. The Lord can easily be pleased by spotless devotees who resort exclusively to Him for protection. So those pure devotees who take exclusive shelter of Krishna, Krishna Eka Sharanam, one of the characteristics of Vaishnava is of pure devotees, Krishna Eka Sharanam, or Rakshashiti Vishwash, go, the surrender. So those who depend on Krishna, then Krishna takes care of them also. The Lord can easily be pleased by spotless devotees who resort exclusively to Him for protection. He is pleased those who take His shelter. Though the unrighteous man finds it difficult to propitiate Him. Every living entity, especially persons in human race, must feel grateful for the benedictions offered by the grace of the Supreme Lord. Anyone, therefore, with a simple heart of gratefulness must be Krishna conscious and offer devotional service to the Lord. Those who are actually thieves and rogues do not recognize or acknowledge the benedictions offered to them by the Supreme Lord, and they cannot render Him devotional service. In the Bhagavad Gita is described as a thief, one who takes without giving back in return. Stena eva saha. It says like that. So, ungrateful persons are those who do not understand how much benefit they are deriving by the arrangement of the Lord. They enjoy the sunshine and moonshine, and they get water free of charge. Yet they do not feel grateful, but simply go on enjoying these gifts of the Lord. Therefore, they must be called thieves and rogues. So, not recognizing the proprietorship of the Lord makes us unrighteous. Means we are usurping Krishna's thing and not recognizing. That's why actual consciousness is that nothing belongs to me, everything belongs to Krishna. Nirmamo, nirhankara. Nirmamo, that's like, okay, I belong to Krishna. And everything I have is also belonging to Krishna. So Krishna has given it to me for some time to use. That's all. So Krishna is the proprietor. And that's true because, when we die, everything will be left behind. Yeah. So anybody has any comments on this?
I just reminded that you said that being grateful, we should be very grateful to Krishna because he has given so much. So I was reminded that one. Keshava Swami has often he said that the gratitude is a mother of all qualities, and it's like a digestion. And when we open your mouth and you put so much food and close your mouth and digest, so there will be two things will happen. First, it nourishes your body and energize your body, and then again you get a chance to open and receive more. So Lord has given, if we look at that, we have a healthy body, we have an environment conditions to perform bhakti peacefully, nicely. And if you compare even all around the world, and you recently visited India, so you have much more experience that, you have seen that. So it's like that, we can compare that, we have a chance to do more this time. We are young and we can do more. So every time, every single day, I feel like that every single day we should be very grateful that we have all bodily function organs also working. There are many people who are blind, who can't hear, physically disabled. So it's a valuable thing we have, and we should be very grateful. And if we are grateful, then being grateful, we humble quality will come. Said that we know that we can do it by own. We are we have to be, all the time. We in our mind, back of the mind, we always that Krishna has given us so much, and that's why we are doing it, and we are very much grateful. And even in material world also, sometimes we see we in student life we don't have like whatever we want, we approach to our parents. So and once we get that thing, we are very grateful to our parents that he had done so much for us. And later on when we become we do a job or something, then we wanted to pay back, okay, whatever we can do for them. But Krishna is our supreme father, his father and mother. So, and that's how this kind of feeling we should be there. um, yeah, that's what I just reminded from.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Okay. O Brahmanas, anyone who hears, chants, or takes pleasure in the wonderful narration of the killing of Hiranyaksha demon by the Lord, who appeared as the first boar in order to deliver the world, is at once relieved of the results of sinful activities, even the killing of a Brahmana. So, this is the Falshruti. So we can read it again also. How Varahadev killed Hiranyaksha. So, so we should not doubt that this is exaggeration or something. Like same thing in Tulsi production also it is said. Brahma Hatyadikani cha. But that does not mean that we will do sinful activities again. Like that. Then it's aparad. But all this is true. Since the personality of God is in the absolute position, there is no difference between his pastimes and his personality. Anyone who hears about the pastimes of the Lord associates with the Lord directly, and one who associates directly with the Lord is certainly freed from the results of all sinful activities, even to the extent of killing of Brahmana, which is considered the most sinful activity in the material world. One should be very eager to hear about the activities of the Lord from the bona fide source, the pure devotee. If one simply gives oral reception to the narration and accepts the glories of the Lord, then is qualified. So with a submissive attitude, we should not doubt without doubting. We should accept the glories of the Lord. The impersonalist philosophers cannot understand the activities of the Lord. They think that all his activities are Maya. Therefore, they are called Mayavadis. Since everything to them is Maya, these narrations are not for them. Some impersonalists are reluctant to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, although many of them are now taking an interest in it just for monetary gain. Actually, however, they have no faith. So they may speak on Bhagavatam, but they don't actually believe, Prabhupada is saying. They just indulge in it for the purpose of getting money. On the contrary, they described it in their own way. We should not hear, therefore, from the Mayavadis. We have to hear from Sudha Goswami or Maitreya, who actually present the narrations as they are. We heard, like Maitreya Muni was saying, that this is how I have heard it. And Sutta Goswami is also narrating like that, right? Previous verses were there. Maitreya Muni is saying, this is how I heard it from my predecessors. And only then we can relish the pastimes of the Lord. Otherwise, the effects of the neophyte audience will be poisonous. Otherwise, the effects on the neophyte audience will be poisonous. Means if we add our own interpretation. They say milk is good, but when it is touched by the serpent, the milk is rendered useless because in the milk, there is the contribution, there is extra contribution of the serpent, which is the poison. Like With Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Lord Chaitanya said, yes, I understand the Vedanta Sutra, but your explanations are clouding the actual meaning of Vedanta Sutra. Like that. So that's why sometimes we say, well, Bhagavatam is all good only. But yes, it's good. As Prabhupada said, right? Milk is good, but if serpent leaves its contribution in the milk, then it becomes poisonous. So that's what here is saying, neophyte audience will be poisonous.
It is said, Prabhu, we should not hear from Mayavad, like Mayavadis. But I think Sarvabhaum, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had heard that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, I think, about a week.
Yeah, he heard, but he was like,
Later on, he converted, I guess.
later on, he was just hearing. Uh, yeah, he was hearing, but he's the Supreme Lord. It doesn't affect him. But if we hear Mayavad philosophy, then it may affect us. And that's why Mahaprabhu was not willing to give mercy to
Mukunda.
Mukunda. Because he was not.
Prabhupada would also stop someone. He told his disciples, stop him. Like someone who was speaking on the stage, Mayavad philosophy.
Correct. Yeah. Have kirtan like that something. So you may say, well, it is not freedom of thought and freedom of speech. No, everybody has freedom of speech and freedom of thought, whatever they want to say. But Krishna allows that. We have He's allowed us freedom, right? That's why we are in the material world. He's allowed us. So, but yeah, we should not hear from anybody and everybody. That in the name of saying that we should hear from, we should be open-minded, we should not be narrow-minded. And we think like this. Sometimes people may say, you are being narrow-minded, you only hear from, or in ISKCON only you hear from devotees in ISKCON, or so you're narrow-minded, you're not hearing others, what others are saying. But if they're not in a bona fide parampara, then we don't have to hear. So, because once we get this impersonal philosophy in our head, then it's very difficult to get past it, because that will stay in the head for a long time. And the Lord is not some energy and things like that. So then we'll be not able to appreciate devotional service that much. So that's why Mahaprabhu says, Hoilo Sarvanash, Mayavad Bhashya Sunila Hoilo Sarvanash. Okay. Devotees are generally okay. Yeah.
I was remembering also Advaitacharya started speaking Mayavad philosophy because he wanted to get some
Mercy.
mercy from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very angry and he started slapping him.
Yeah. So Mahaprabhu is very angry. Even like Advaita Acharya, who's very senior to him, he would always respect. But Mahaprabhu didn't like this philosophy. He started beating him. Okay, Advaita Acharya wanted him to beat him because he was always offering respect. So he said, no, Lord is not showing me mercy. He's always touching my feet and I want him to beat me. So, yeah. This most sacred narrative confers extraordinary merit, wealth, fame, longevity, and all the object of one's desire. So, this pastime of Varahadev, killing, offers extraordinary merit, wealth, fame, longevity, and whatever else one desires. On the field of battle, it promotes the strength of one's vital organs and organs of action. So if you're on the battlefield, it will make you strong. One who listens to it at the last moment of his life is transferred to the supreme abode of the Lord. Oh dear Shaunak. So Sudha Goswami is telling Shaunak Rishi that those who hear this, they will go to the supreme abode of the Lord at the last moment of his life. Devotees are generally attracted by the narratives of pastimes of the Lord. And even though they do not prosecute austerities or meditation, this very process of hearing attentively about the pastimes of the Lord will endow them with innumerable benefits. Just hearing gives so many benefits. Even you may not observe austerities or meditation, such as wealth, fame, longevity, and other desirable aims of life. If one continues to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, which is full of narratives of the pastimes of the Lord, at the end of this life, one is sure to be transferred to the eternal transcendental abode of the Lord. So if we keep hearing throughout our life, we keep hearing and with faith, accepting, then we'll go back home, back to Godhead. So just following the morning program Prabhupada gave, which has the Bhagavatam class also in the temple, is very potent. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Tulsi Puja and everything. Doing it every day. Thus hearers, that's why living in the temple is very beneficial, because you just wake up and follow the program. Mangala Arati, Tulsi Puja, Narsingha Arati, and Japa, and then Bhagavatam class. It's like a spiritual world. And after spending like 6 hours, you take prasadam, and your mind becomes very peaceful and joyful. So, and if you do this every day, then you're like so happy. Thus, hearers are benefited both ultimately and for as long as they are in the material world. So, in the material world also they are benefited. Ultimately, they are benefited after this life. That is the supreme sublime result of engaging in devotional service. The beginning of devotional service is to spare some time and listen to Srimad Bhagavatam from the right source. So, we are hearing from so many devotees, we are hearing some classes and Prabhupada's purports. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also recommended 5 items of devotional service, namely to serve the devotees of the Lord, to chant Hare Krishna, to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, to worship the deity of the Lord, and to live in a place of pilgrimage. Just performing these 5 activities can deliver one from the miserable condition of material life. So everything is incorporated in the ISKCON, the morning program. You chant Hare Krishna, you hear Srimad Bhagavatam, you worship the deity by singing to the deity, and serving the devotees. Yes, that comes also. You may cook some breakfast or something like that. Just performing these 5 activities, or serve prasadam. Okay. Deity, devotee, Nam, Dham, Bhagavatam. That's the 5 things which can deliver one from condition of material life. If we just do these 5 things repeatedly, regularly, then we will be delivered. Okay. Any comments? Okay. We'll go to the next chapter.
Srimad Bhagavatam, this one is giving spiritual and material benefits both,
Yes.
right?
Says like that here, Prabhupada says.
So some devotee asked, why is it giving material benedictions?
I mean, if you have desire for that, it will fulfill that desire also. Like we say, chanting Hare Krishna can fulfill your material desires also. So, yeah. And all the objects. Isn't that, is that okay?
Yeah, I mean, we say Akam Sarvakam Moksha Kamadharidi. Krishna also fulfill. Even if you have material desires, you go to Krishna. But Krishna evaluates whether it's good for you or not.
Right. And yeah, he evaluates. He may not give you also. But yeah, here it says, yeah, generally people we want wealth, fame, longevity, desirable aims of life. So, I mean, yeah. So in the beginning, everybody is not pure devotee who's hearing Bhagavatam. So, you
To
know,
encourage them.
to encourage them. And yeah, Janish said something. Find an intensity that will suit your personality, which will increase your consistency and will result in purity. Find an intensity. So, can you explain that? He's not there on the call.
So just along the lines that we are talking right now, following the processes of bhakti and which are laid out by the acharyas, for a beginner it might be just too much, so you don't want to bombard yourself with the whole thing, and probably just if you try to just mimic others, it will be like very short lived. So you want to start with something that that you can handle basically, but it's a little bit more endeavor than like what you would do normally. So in that way, suppose you start with one round, but you don't want to be hung up on the one round for like 5 years. So once you get um, more comfortable with that one round, you should try to endeavor to do two. And then in that way, slowly having that intensity, or it will give you the push to make a progress in bhakti. So that's what it's in short, that saying that Prabhuji gave in one of the classes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
actually, if we hear Bhagavatam every day, it says that initially we are not pure, but if we keep hearing, and yeah, then all the anarthas will slowly go away. What is that verse? By hearing regularly, attending. What is the verse? How does it start? Then all the anarthas will go away, and the bhakti is established in the heart as an irrevocable fact. How does it start? Bhaktir Bhavati.
Nityam Bhagavat Sevya, that one.
Correct. Yeah. Nashtaprayeshu.
Nashtaprayeshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevya. Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhakte Bhavati Nashtaki.
So it's a very easy way to, get rid of anarthas. We just hear, and Prabhupada is also, in the Bhagavatam itself also points out all the anarthas. And if you keep hearing and read the purports of Prabhupada like that, then one day we'll become free from all the anarthas of the heart. And bhakti will appear in the heart. Yasyaiva Ishruyamanayam. Yasyaiva Ishruyamanayam.
Krishna Param Purushe Bhakti Utpate Shokamoha Bhayapa.
Bhakti Utpadyate Pumsam.
Sa Shokamoha Bhayapa.
Shokamoha Bhayapaha. And by giving oral reception to this literature, then bhakti will arise in the heart, and one's lamentation, shoka, moha, lamentation and illusion and fear will go away. Actually, when you come to the spiritual platform, when you are fearless, because you are like, okay, Krishna is there to take care of me, and I am surrendering to Krishna, and I am spirit soul. Fear is because of losing things, right? We have fear of losing things that we have, and fear of being rejected by society. So many different fears we have, but yeah, that's. But when you have faith in Krishna's words that Krishna will help me, Krishna will protect me, then you can be fearless. And he will have, it's not like the body will be protected, but my consciousness will be protected, as we were saying yesterday. So, so Krishna is very pleased here, he says, with one who depends on him, who resort exclusively to him for protection. Exclusively means he is the only one. Krishna is the only savior. My only savior is Krishna. The one who has that, kind of mood that Krishna, you are the only one who will save me. And Krishna is very pleased. Okay. Balasya neha sharanam pitaro narsingho nartasya chagadam udam.
तप्तस्य तत्प्रतिविधीय इह निशिष्टस्तावद्विभो तनुभृतं त्वदुपेक्षितम्.
Yeah, that Nrsingadev, Prahlad Maharaj says that even sometimes the parents cannot save the child. Balasya niha sharanam pitaro. Pitaro means Balasya. They cannot save the child. In spite of their loving care, the child will die. If one is neglected, upekshitana means if one is neglected by the Supreme Lord, then and a boat cannot save a drowning man. And the third analogy is what? Medicine.
Medicine physician cannot save a patient.
If the sanction of the Lord is not there, then it's not. So, like Chitraketu Maharaj's son died, right? He was in loving care, but he was poisoned. We read yesterday. Shisaunaka inquired, O Sutta Goswami, after the earth was again situated in its orbit. So, earth which was displaced by Hiranyaksha was put again in its orbit. What did Swayambhuva Manu do to show the path of liberation to persons who were to take birth later on? So the rulers have to show how to show the path of liberations. So the guru, this like that, they have to show the path to liberation. The appearance, the parents have to show the path to liberation for the children, like that. The appearance of the Lord as the firstborn incarnation occurred during the time of Swayambhuva Manu. Swayambhuva Manu is the first Manu, right? Firstborn incarnation. Whereas the present age is in the period of Vaivashvata Manu. We are in the 7th Manu right now. Each Manu's period lasts 72 times the cycle of 4 ages. So 72 Yuga cycles are there. And one cycle of ages equals 4,320,000 solar years. Thus, 4,320,000 years into 72 solar years is the reign of one Manu. So we cannot even comprehend this such. In each Manu's period, there are many changes in many ways. There are 14 Manus within one day of Brahma. It is understood here that Manu creates scriptural regulations for the salvation of the conditioned souls. So Manu Samhita and all this, who come to the material world for material enjoyment. The Lord is so kind that any soul who wants to enjoy in the material world is given full facility for enjoyment, and at the same time he is shown the path of salvation. Shaunak Rishi, like we have Dharma, Artha, Kama, and then Moksha. Shaunak Rishi therefore inquired from Sutta Goswami, what did Swayambhuva Manu do after the reinstatement of the earth in its orbital situation? So there is a Karma Kanda section of the Vedas also, which is also coming from the Lord. All the Vedas are coming from the Lord. So they give the facility. They tell you, okay, you want to enjoy this way, that way. Then you do this a kind of sacrifice and this Karma Kanda. But Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, don't be attracted by
Flowery words of the Vedas.
Flowery language of the Vedas, flowery words of the Vedas. Rise above this, he says, Nistray Guna Bhava Arjuna. Rise above the three modes of material nature. Don't be attracted by them. But not everybody can come to that platform immediately because we have strong desires to enjoy. That's why there is concession given for enjoyment. And then as we enjoy and then we may become frustrated in the enjoyment, then we may look for liberation. Initially, dharma, most people follow dharma because they want money or nice material situation for kama to fulfill their material desires, and then because it does not satisfy the soul, then they look for moksha because now they have had an experience that okay, this kama did not satisfy me, I should look for something else now, I'm tired of this. So like that. So that's how it's. There is Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, there is Jnana Kanda section of the Vedas, there is Upasana Kanda section, they say. Because Vedas have to adjust to all kinds of people, not that it can. Ideally, there is only Bhagavatam is needed, but everybody cannot. That's why Prabhupada wanted to establish Varnashram, so that people can slowly, give up their tendencies for material enjoyment. Because the highest everybody cannot accept immediately. So he said 50% of my work is unfinished because I have to establish Varnashram. So, okay. Like somebody who wants to eat meat, then very addicted to eating meat, then if there is no provision in the Vedas, then he'll say, why I cannot eat meat? I want to. Then there is some concession in the Vedas that okay, you want to eat meat, okay, you do it like this and eat meat like this. Because the desire is very strong, you tell him don't eat meat, then it's very difficult. So like that, some concession is given. Like there is liquor shops, right? There's liquor shops which are licensed. Licensed liquor shop means there is restriction. You can't just. But on bread, on orange juice, there is no license. You don't have to have license to. But liquor shop, because it is not good, so it is prohibited. But there is some restricted license. So there is a verse like that. Yeah. So when Vyasadeva recommends, all these different things, that means it is restricted. So, and then slowly to give it up. Saunak Rishi inquired about Vidura, who was a great devotee and friend of Lord Krishna. Hmm. So Saunak Rishi, Sutta Goswami and Saunak Rishi are conversing. And in that conversation, he is talking about what he has heard from Shukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. And in that conversation, Shukdev Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj about the conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. So, Saunak Rishi inquired about Vidura, who was a great devotee and friend of Lord Krishna, and who gave up the company of his elder brother because the latter, along with his sons, played tricks against the desires of the Lord. So Vidura gave up the company of Dhritarashtra because Dhritarashtra, along with Duryodhan, he was playing tricks against the Pandavas, who were very dear to Krishna, and against the desires of the Lord. So he gave up the company. So those who are against the desire of the Lord, then the company, like we say, the thing that is favorable to bhakti is like it says utsahat nishadharya tat tat kama pravartanat sangat tyagat sato vrate satpir bhakti prasidhati. So what is not favorable, association that is not favorable, he gave up. He actually tried to convince Dhritarashtra, but Dhritarashtra was not the incident. But later on he came back because he's very compassionate. So like that he came back. The incident here to refer to here is that Vidura left the protection of his elder brother Dhritarashtra, went traveling everywhere to sacred places and met Maitri at Haridwar. Saunak Rishi here inquires the topic of conversation between Maitreya Rishi and Vidura. Vidura's qualification was that he was not only a friend of the Lord but also a great devotee. Bhaktosi me sakha cheti. He was a bhakta and he was also a sakha. Like in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, yes, the qualification to understand this Bhagavad Gita is that you are my friend, you are my devotee. So he had both. He was a friend and he was a devotee. When Krishna tried to stop the war and mitigate the misunderstanding between the cousin brothers, they refused to accept his counsel. Therefore, Krishata, another name of Vidura, or Vidura was unsatisfied with them and he left the palace. As a devotee, Vidura showed by example that anywhere that Krishna is not honored is a place unfit for human habitation. So where Krishna is not respected. So they were not respecting Krishna and the devotees of Krishna. So he left. A devotee may be tolerant regarding his own interests, but he should not be tolerant when there is misbehavior towards the Lord or the Lord's devotee. Here the word Aghavan is very significant, for it indicates the Kauravas. Dhritarashtra's sons lost the war because of being sinful in disobeying the instructions of Krishna. Okay. Any comments? Okay, next verse. Vidura was born from the body of Vedavyas and was not less than he. Vedavyas, when he, from the maidservant. Thus he accepted the lotus feet of Krishna wholeheartedly and was attached to his devotees. The history of Vidura is that he was born from a Shudra mother, but his seminal father was Vyasadeva, and thus he was not less than Vyasadeva in any respect. Since he was born of a great father, who was supposed to be an incarnation of Narayan, and who composed all the Vedic literatures, Vidur was also a great personality. He accepted Krishna as his worshipable Lord and followed his instructions wholeheartedly. So Vedavyas' son was also very great. Prabhupada says he was Vedvyas is the incarnation of Krishna, Narayan. Yeah.
And so was Dhritarashtra. He was the son of Vyasdev also.
Correct. Yeah, the logic breaks. You found the flaw in the logic. Correct? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to explain that, but yeah, it's here anyway. It's like that. So why Vyasadev had Dhritarashtra also was his son, but he was.
And Vyasdev mother, I mean, the way Vyasdev was born is also kind of, I mean, Lord is being born to Parashar Muni and Satyavati, who were not even married. So.
Correct. There is something about Parashar Muni he knew at that time, something that is there, but not sure. Yeah, we may think well how Parashar Muni and Vyasadeva was born at that time to Parashar Muni. So, yeah, can't say.
Yeah, but we know Vidura is Yamraj, cursed to be
Correct.
born to a Shudra mother.
Yes. Because he wanted to.
Preach the glories of Lord.
Prabhupada writes in that purport, he wanted to preach the glories. Because as Yamaraj, he has to give out punishment like that. So he was tired of his. He also wanted to preach the glories of the Lord.
Why Prabhu preaching was cursed?
Who?
He wanted to preach why he was cursed?
No. It was like an arrangement of the Lord because Yamaraj wanted to come and preach. So you can say, in one sense, the whole pastime happened of Yamaraj getting cursed by who was the Muni? Manduk.
Manduk preaching.
Huh?
Yeah, Manduk.
Manduk Muni, yeah.
Because he wanted to come down and preach. So you can say maybe that reason also he was cursed. So it was just like an arrangement for the Yamaraj, who is a Mahajan, to come down and he can preach. I don't know if that way say. Okay, just like Jay and Vijay, they became like Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu. It was because the Lord had desired to fight. So the whole pastime, we could say, happened for that reason. Okay, what's the time here? Vidura was purified. Yeah, anybody? Vidura was.
I was the previous verse where it's mentioned, right, how the devotees are tolerant to people doing wrong to themselves, but they're not tolerant to those who are blaspheming Krishna, their devotees. We have this verse. Tiraskrita vipralabda shapta shipta api nasya tat pratikurvanti tad bhakta prabhavopi. Devotees of the Lord, they're so forbearing that even though they are defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected, even killed, they're never inclined to avenge themselves. So Vidura took this opportunity of being disrespected by Duryodhan, and he went on to a pilgrimage to advance his spiritual life. So they take that opportunity as coming directly from Krishna, how to use this in my favor. In that way they are tolerant. That this has come by Krishna's arrangement.
Yeah, this is the verse that Radheshyam Prabhu spoke last time.
Right. We were in Mayapur, yeah.
He was saying examples of. Yeah, this they say turning setback into sport. We were also hearing. Was Damodar Leela that. So Krishna turned a setback into sport, something like that. So the setback, there's a setback because Vidura was insulted. But that setback, he used it to his advantage. So devotees do that. He it was a setback for him because Duryodhan practically banished him from the kingdom. And then he used that to go on a pilgrimage and meet Maitreya. So life also has many setbacks. But if those setbacks actually bring us closer to the Lord and surrender to the Lord, then it's a good thing, right? So
And yeah, so his lecture was converting misfortune into fortune. And he gave examples. Vidura was one example, and Dhruva, facing that behavior from Suniti, he got angry and he went in search of Vishnu. That's another example.
yeah,
And King Vena, when he was disturbed by his son, King Vena was a bad son of Anga Maharaj, right? Anga, he left his kingdom because he had a bad son. He said that one. And he also gave example of Prabhupada. His family was not favorable and he took sannyas.
Yeah. So, good examples. Yeah. Okay, so we'll.
And Prabhu, if you compare, like, as I was thinking that, Vidura was very, he was very flexible. He was flexible, he was, fearless. I said, you're talking about that. So when he was insulted, he just leave. He left everything and moving with the Krishna's plan. And on the other side, if you look at the, like, the devotees always think like that the Krishna might have some other plans for him. That's why they are like, fearless for everything, only taking the shelter of, Abhay Charana so become fearless. And on the other side, if you look at the Dhritarashtra, he was very much rigid, fixed, like, fearful. He was like holding so many things, like attachment, the plans, many desires. And that's why, inside, if we are holding so much, and every time, inside in our heart, it goes like, it may be wrong, it gonna be wrong, it feels like that. And if he takes shelter, like the devotees, like Vidura, he took shelter of Lord Krishna, and he was completely flexible, doesn't have any, okay, he insulted me, he left everything and he left the kingdom. He doesn't have any attachment, any desires, and he just but Dhritarashtra is holding so much, even after listening, after hearing from himself, Krishna, and Vidura has given so many advice, valuable advice. But and even I remind that, if you look at the Mahabharata, he said that, like, Dhritarashtra, when he hear Krishna, after hearing, he feels like that he is he feels like that there's something, illuminating knowledge Krishna has given, and Krishna has given this advice. But the next moment, he was entrapped with the, like, all the attachment, all the, ignorance, covered by the ignorance. So it's like, they both were born with the same father, but they have a different perspective. They have a different perspective to see things. And if you earlier we read about the, like, gratitude also. So Vidura also has a great, gratitude mentality, but the Dhritarashtra has a victim mentality. He was blind, but whole life he was seeing that, yes, I am the king, but I am blind. Rather than he could see like that, yes, I am blind, but I am the king. All this. So and on the other side, Vidura, he was born in a, Shudra family, mother, but he was this, he accepted, although he was healthy. We know that the three sons, other one, he was blind, and the Pandu had not good health, so he died early. So I mean, technically, logically, Vidura was more qualified to be the king. But he accepted that he born as a Sudra, from a Shudra mother. So he accepted all these things, and he was very grateful to the Lord. Whatever the incident happens in his life, either he was insulted, or maybe he cannot be a king, but he doesn't have any grudges or he always be grateful to the Lord. So yeah, I mean, most of the time we think that we are either we are in victim mentality or we are in gratitude mentality, or how we see the things. And although they both were born with the same father, but have different um, approach or seeing things.
Thank you for sharing. Yes. Yeah, Dhritarashtra is the word. It means he was holding on. That's no, he was very attached to his kursi. Yeah, so Vidura was not attached to his position of being in the royal household or anything like that. He just went on a pilgrimage, and he had grown a beard. He went incognito, right, kind of, so nobody will ask him. And Dhritarashtra, as the word says, he was very attached to holding on to his Rashtra. So he wanted his son to become the king. Either he wanted to be the king and he wanted his son to become the king. So he was not willing to let go of his material desires. So that's the problem. And that's why we say, although he heard Bhagavad Gita, he could not, you know, he could not take advantage of it. So, because moha also does like that. Moha, the illusion makes one blind.
Yeah. And then when he lost his 100 sons, then, Vidura came back and gave him this philosophical knowledge. And then he understood, same as Chitraketu Maharaj, right? When he lost his son, then he understood.
Correct.
Angira Munis.
Because now his son has died, so there is no more moha. And Pandavas are victorious, so there is all his plans of him becoming the king and Duryodhan becoming the king are all shattered. Pandavas are victorious, so now he's ready to receive knowledge. Then also Vidura has to speak very strongly. So yeah, ultimately Krishna for the devotees makes arrangements so that they will become ready to go back home, back to Godhead. Like we came to Krishna consciousness because of distress. So, that's why we were looking for some alternative and like that. So it's Krishna's favor so that we can, and then also if we have some shortcomings, then Krishna teaches us many lessons. Like Indra, for instance, he was teaching. So through that, all these incidents, Krishna is basically purifying us and giving us, good direction, good intelligence, so that we can go back home, back to God. Yeah.
And that's the special mercy verse, right? Yasyaham anugranami harishe taddaram shreye. If I especially favor someone, I will deprive him of his wealth, his relatives. He will be poverty stricken. He will suffer one distress after another.
Correct. Yes. He
But
will not
does
get facilities for material enjoyment. I mean, or Krishna will say, I will take away all his facility for material enjoyment, so that he can come to understand naked, the naked nature of this world, right? What does Prabhupada say? Now I've come to understand. Krishna has shown me the
truth.
truth, the naked face of material nature. I mean, material nature is very harsh, but what happens is it's covered by the curtain of Maya that we cannot perceive the harshness. Like, the slaughterhouse, they give meat, but what is going on inside, how in the slaughterhouse there is all not shown. So that's how it is. A curtain of Maya, illusory energy, is drawn. So we don't realize this, the miseries of material existence and how I'm struggling and going from one body to the next. Prabhupada says the material civilization is nothing but a patchwork of activities to cover the perpetual miseries of material existence. So it covers our consciousness by this avaranatmika shakti. Maya is also very tricky. It gives us some enjoyment and then in that enjoyment we get carried away and we get covered over by that we forget what is actually our situation. So, but yeah, Krishna reminds us again it's through miseries and things like that frustrates the jiva. Otherwise, Krishna could have created a nice situation, right? I mean, he's God; he can do anything. Uh, that's the definition of God. He could have created a situation where there is no old age, there is no disease, there is no death. He could create in the material world if he wants. Why can't he? Because he's God. But because he wants us to turn to him, because as parts we will not be happy without turning to him. So natural constitutional position. So he has created this world in this way, very complex material world. Keshava Tuma, what is it? Tua Jagat Vichitra. Of course, there is wonderful also and also complex. Vichitra is also like very complicated. This material world is very complicated. So he's created this so that we become baffled in our attempts to enjoy, and we can turn to him. Krishna is saying, "No, then it's not working, Krishna." Yeah.
Mm. I mean, there are heavenly planets also in the material world, right? Where they can do sense enjoyment without disease, but of course it's temporary, it's limited till your pious credits finish.
But they have anxiety there also, right? Indra has anxiety there about somebody he's stealing the horse of Prithu Maharaj, and like Krishna has created that situation in the heavenly planets, where you can go and have more enjoyment basically. But that's why devotees who chant Hare Krishna and have material desires, then they can go to heavenly planets because there they will get a lot of enjoyment. So Krishna says like that, where they enjoy the heavenly delights and they come back down. Yeah.
I know it's just curiosity. Do you have any name of such heavenly planets other than Earth?
It is called Swargalok, but I don't know what different planets are there. There is Nandan Kanan Gardens in the heavenly planets, right? They say. Okay, I don't know if somebody knows.
We don't know, but demigods are praying to take birth on the Bharatvarsh because they can't remember Krishna there because there's no distress. They say we are engaged in sense gratification. There's no.
Yeah. And we are here in this earthly planet. And we may want to go to heavenly planets, not devotees, but I'm just saying that many people want to go to heavenly planet. They want to come here and we want to go there. As Badrinath Maharaj says, that those who are in New York, when you land in New York, there's
Go to Hawaii.
or Puerto Rico, Hawaii, something like that.
Those who are in Hawaii want to come to New York.
Something like that, yeah. So nobody is satisfied anywhere in this material existence. So everybody wants to change their situation because they're not satisfied. That's why we also constantly keep changing our situation in pursuit of material happiness. We change thinking that situation will be more pleasing than like that. So it's there. Like we change jobs or this and that. Yeah, but it's good. Okay, we are looking, but ultimately goal should be Krishna consciousness. We may look for a relatively cool job.
Brahma Bhavana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. Mamapete tu kandhe punarjanmana vidite. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, where repeated birth and death takes place. So no material situation is a good situation because it's temporary. Only the spiritual world, once we go there, we never return. It's an eternal, blissful condition.
Yeah. That's why we should read about Krishna Leela, Vraj Leela more. So we'll feel more attraction to go there. We'll hear about Kalia Leela, right? It's a few days.
Yes.
Okay. Vidura was purified of all passion by wandering in sacred places. And the last verse. Vidura was purified of all passion by wandering in sacred places. So in the palace life is a mode of passion. So because there is a lot of politics and things, and there is always, So he was purified by wandering in sacred places, and at last he reached Haridwar, where he met the great sage who knew the science of spiritual life, and he inquired from him. Shaunak Rishi therefore asked, "What more did Vidura inquire from Maitreya?" So a lot of questions he asked before. Vidura asked Maitreya, and then now Shaunak Rishi wants to say, "Well, what more did he ask?" Here the words Virajas Tirtha Sevaya refer to Vidura, who was completely cleansed of all contamination by traveling to places of pilgrimage. So by going to place, we were also fortunate to be allowed entry into Vrindavan and Mayapur. So, yeah, in Vrindavan, Mayapur, they say if you take one step, it is equivalent to performing so many Ashwamedha yagnas. Like that, there is some saying. Navadvip.
The Mayapur? Is that close to Mayapur or Vrindavan?
Vrindavan, Mayapur, both.
Both. Yeah. How about Dwarka?
Dwarka is also holy place.
Dwarka.
Yeah. There was some in the Navadvip Mahatmya or somewhere. It's described how. So, I mean, let me see if I can find Ashwam. But anyway, we are not. We want the devotees want the pure devotion to the Lord. But there is so many.
And there's that verse, right? I mean, it's not about visiting the pilgrimage place, it's about hearing from pure. Yes, Yatma Buddhi Kanika Sridhar.
Yeah, so anyhow, it's okay.
That's what we were discussing, right? I mean, our consciousness changes more when we hear from devotees, contemplate on the instructions, try to implement in our life. Then just visiting the place of pilgrimage, I mean, seeing the deity bowing down is good, but I mean, what we experienced.
Yeah, that is true. We have to hear. Actually, hearing changes our consciousness most. At least for me, I can say that. But yeah, that's. I was thinking that we went to what, the Champahati. Champahati. What is it? Champahati. Where Jaydev Goswami used to live. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and then other places where who was this Vish.
That place is in West Bengal, right? Yeah,
All
Git Govindam, where Git Govindam was composed.
Yeah, Navadip Mandal Parikrama, all these places, Vrindavan Das Thakur's birthplace and so many. Yeah, it's okay. Anyhow, so in India there are hundreds of sacred places of pilgrimage, of which Prayag, Haridwar, Vrindavan, and Rameshwaram are considered principal. After leaving his home, which was full of politics and diplomacy, Vidura wanted to purify himself by traveling to all the sacred places, which are so situated that anyone who goes there automatically becomes purified. This is especially true in Vrindavan. Any person may go there, and even if he is sinful, he will at once contact an atmosphere of spiritual life and will automatically chant the names of Krishna and Radha. Okay, so Prabhupada is saying about Vrindavan that it's spiritual atmosphere, and you'll, and especially Krishna Balram Mandir. Our temple is very nice. There's chanting going on. You stand in front of the deities and you hear the kirtan devotees are doing. That's very nice. So, and then you have morning japa in the temple room, which a little interruption is there, but and then Bhagavatam class is there. So this is nice to hear and chant in the dham. That we have actually seen it. Huh?
I think of our journey, Prabhuji, it was so nice. I was just recollecting the morning Mangalarti and the Shringararti and the Bhagavatam class, and associate with the devotees having very good prasadam. So it was just like heaven. I just cannot forget those moments which we had spent so nicely, Prabhuji. That's what I was recollecting from all these things which the things which we went to Vrindavan, Puri, Jagannath. It was so nice, very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you for taking us.
Who am I to take it, sis? You
So nice it was, really. If you had not put your efforts, we might have not done, Prabhuji. Really, I mean it. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
the Radharani has to give permission, so only we can enter. Yeah. Vrinda Devi and all others. Right? You were saying Gopishwar Mahadev, Yamuna.
Yes, Prabhu. Although I felt that the weathers, when we went in summer, it was so hot, and when we went this time, it was too cold in the morning. I used to feel very cold in the temple.
Oh.
It's never perfect. Krishna has made the dham in such a way that you have to go through austerity to live in the dham. It's not, very pleasing. So that's why it's. To live in the dham even for a few days, you get so much benefit because it's too austere.
Yeah. Nice to hear Vibhavari session in the morning. Sansara Davana. Okay. Yeah, I think you all were on the Radha Shyam Sundar side only, mostly, right? Mangalarti.
Yes,
Yes.
because there's so many people that come, it's very hard. So we occupy the first lane.
First place.
Mhm.
Near the altar.
That's why the priest knew us when we met them in Mayapur. They knew, oh, you're from Vrindavan.
And he told me that this lady, the Sugandha, he pointed out, she's always near the altar, waiting for the prasadam. The flowers prasadam.
Yeah. You don't even go to the other deities, you are on the Radha Shyam.
No, we do. We go there.
Oh.
But
we
most
do
of the
go.
time in front of Radha Shyam Sundar.
Most of the time in front of Radha Shyam.
In Mayapur, Prabhuji, I used to go straight to Radha Madhav. And Sugandha Mataji, you're not coming to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then I'll come later.
Okay, yeah. It's Radha Madhav is very beautiful, Mayapur.
Beautiful with that Ashtasakis, Prabhuji. It is really very heavenly. It is so divine. It is so beautiful.
Yeah, all the deities, Radha Shyam Sundar, everybody. So.
Yeah, including Narsingha Bhagwan.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? We'll finish this. that we've actually seen and experienced. It is recommended in the Shastras that after retiring from active life and accepting the Vanaprastha order, one should travel everywhere to places of pilgrimage in order to purify himself. Vidura completely discharged this duty and at last he reached Kushavarta or Haridwar, where the sage Maitreya was sitting. Another significant point is that one must go to sacred places not only to take bath there, but to search out great sages like Maitreya and take instructions from them. That's the verse you are quoting. What is that verse? Instruction.
यस्यात्मा बुद्धिकने पुत्री दातके स्वधिकलात्रदेश भौम इज्जति यतीर्थ बुद्धि शरीरेण कैच जनेषु अबनेषु सेव गोखरा.
If one does not do so, his traveling to places of pilgrimage is simply a waste of time. So if you don't search out great sages and hear from them. Narottam Das Thakur, a great acharya of the Vaishnava sect, has for the present forbidden us to go to such places of pilgrimage, because in this age the times have so changed. A sincere person may have a different impression on seeing the behavior of the present residents of the pilgrimage sites. Yeah, so now times all kinds of people may be residing there, and so somebody may get a wrong impression like that. He has recommended that instead of taking the trouble to travel to such places, one should concentrate his mind on Govinda, and that will help him. Narottam Das Thakur says it's Parishram Tirtha. Some song he says. But you can be where you are and you can concentrate your mind on Govinda. Of course, to concentrate one's mind on Govinda in any place is a path meant for those who are most spiritually advanced. It is not for ordinary persons. Ordinary persons may still derive benefit, Prabhupada says, from traveling to holy places like Prayag, Mathura, Vrindavan, Haridwar. It is recommended in this verse that one find a person who knows the science of God or a Tattvavid. Tattvavid means one who knows the absolute truth. There are many pseudo-transcendentalists even at places of pilgrimage. Such men are always present, and one has to be intelligent enough to find the actual person to be consulted. Then one's attempt to progress by traveling to different holy places will be successful. One has to be freed from all contamination, and at the same time he has to find a person who knows the science of Krishna. Krishna helps a sincere person, as stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Guru Krishna Prasade, by the mercy of spiritual master and Krishna, one attains the path of salvation, devotional service. If one sincerely searches for spiritual salvation, then Krishna, being situated in everyone's hearts, gives him the intelligence to find a suitable spiritual master. By the grace of a spiritual master like Maitreya, one gets the proper instruction and advances in spiritual life. Okay, so we have to have the right motive and pray to Krishna. So Krishna will send somebody to guide us. Like that. Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai. Any comments on this? Okay, we can stop here.
Yeah, I was remembering how we heard from Asit Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
I have a question. So what should be the age for Vanprastha? Like, or what if we die before that?
50 years is the age of Vanprastha.
Okay, but if we die before that?
If you die before 50 years, then what? What is the question? Then
I mean, I just need to know the ideal age of Vanprastha. Like nowadays, you see the Kali Yuga, every person age is getting shorter, right?
Right.
So my question is, if we don't go for yatra, but we die, then what will happen? Like, do we have to birth again, or we are still fine? Like, we are still doing Krishna consciousness and everything, but just asking, is it necessary to go in yatra before you die?
It depends on your consciousness. Basically, you can, like die in anywhere, but if you are Krishna conscious, then you will go back to the spiritual world, whether you die in holy place or outside the holy place, wherever.
Okay.
Yeah. But as you are saying, that is also another consideration, that considering 100 years, that was 25, 25, 25, 25. But our lifespan is not 100 years now, maybe 80 years or 70 years. So one fourth of that lifespan should be this ashram, then for the men, like that. One fourth should be that, one fourth, one fourth. So 70, you divide into four parts. If you think your lifespan is 70 or 75, generally that's generally the lifespan. Of course, we don't know how long it is, but
Correct.
I mean there should be urgency. Yes, the thing is that because death can come at any time, so we should not wait. We don't know when it is going to come, so there should be urgency in bhakti.
Mm,
Then
right.
we should like think our time is less, and we should do whatever we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So, any other comments? Sheetal Kumar is saying Western world Vanaprastha is 21 today's situation. So maybe he's thinking that 21 means Vanaprastha is a hard half. At the half, considering 100, it's 50. So 21. So you're saying 42 years is the lifespan. So maybe half of that 21. He's thinking that 42 years is our lifespan. So he's saying that Vanaprastha should be at half, 21. Yeah. Anyhow, so I mean, it's not long time, right? I mean, even if you live 10, 5, 10 years more here and there, somebody dies at 70, somebody dies at 80, but it's not long in terms of eternity. So we should always feel that, yeah, it's not very long time, and I have been given the golden opportunity to go back home, back to Godhead. So let me do my best. Let me do as much as I can and change my consciousness, become more Krishna conscious. And yeah, put myself in a situation. Okay.
And even Prabhuji, that consciousness is important even if we participate in yatra, right? So
Correct.
just merely attending the yatra is not an objective.
Correct.
I think that attending the yatra with the right consciousness, I think that's important.
Correct. Yeah, so because sometimes it can be very challenging with walking and accommodations and things like that, and so yeah, and our consciousness can be like disturbed also because of all this, and you fall sick and things like that. Which we went, I fell sick.
Not only you, Prabhuji, we all felt sick.
Yeah, like what to do. Okay, so we can hear it's 8:30. Should we stop here for today?